What's up, everyone? Welcome back to class. I hope you are surviving the quarantine life. I am struggling. Yeah. One of my students said it best, and I tweeted about it the other day. She said, "Every day we do the exact same thing, so I can no longer tell which day of the week it is." And I felt that. Also, follow me on Twitter for lots of fun things. But here we are, week 4, let's do it. So the first thing I want to do is the shout out of the week. So I got some blackout poems from you guys, and I loved seeing those. But I wanted to highlight one for you right now really quickly. This one is by Shannon. I really liked how it flowed together and how the last line actually kind of referenced the first line, which I thought was cool, how she tied that in together. So awesome job. There were so many other good ones, but again, I'm just choosing one per week. Keep sending your work in so I can highlight it. Okay, so the agenda for today is a couple of things. It's actually not going to be as long of a video today. So I'm going to go over the module really quickly with you, show you kind of what you need to know about this week that's different from the weeks before. Then I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to complete some of the activities for this week and how to get started on those. I'm not going to give a full tutorial because I think that you can grasp it after I give you the tips to get started. All right, this is what your module looks like for this week. Exactly the same. Literally, I've been copying and pasting the instructions. I did add a reminder to submit your work on Microsoft Teams, so make sure that you do that. Remember, you need to download the files for the links to work properly, and you're going to want to do that because that's where a lot of the stuff is this week. So the reading, the article that goes along with the TED Talk, like we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, you have to click that link to get there. And then the writing, same as before, tic-tac-toe. You're going to choose 3 writing prompts from the PowerPoint and make sure to submit that writing on Teams. I'm going to give you some feedback on it. And then you have the speaking. You're just going to watch that video. It goes along with the reading. It's the same idea. There's no Flipgrid link this week because your thinking activity is a little bit longer. Your thinking activity I'm gonna go over in just a second, but basically you're creating a YouTube playlist for the soundtrack of your life. You could also choose a character from a book. I'm gonna encourage you to choose a character from a book, but you can totally do your life as well, whatever is more comfortable for you. And then the further activity is the found poetry. It's basically you're finding old magazines, cutting out words and phrases, making them into a poem. In that process, I'm going to give you some tips for in just a second as well. Okay, so for your thinking activity this week, it actually has an assignment called your character playlist. And some of you have done this with other projects probably in the past, but some of you may have not have done this. The idea is basically you're going to choose a character from a book that you've read either recently or this year or ever. Gosh, it can even be a movie or a TV show. Pick a character, okay? And then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna create a playlist based off of that character, which sounds easy enough. When you actually sit down to do it, it gets a little bit trickier because you don't really know, I don't know, for me, I'm like, I don't really know where to start. So here's where to start. After you choose your character, which should be the first step, the second step, you want to start listing out your character traits of your character. Brainstorm their direct and indirect character traits based on like the way they look, the way they act, the things that they do. You might even take some important events from the plot and list those as well. Once you have brainstormed, it's going to be a lot easier to start drawing songs because you will have qualities to go off of, right? So if your character is really moody in some part of the story, right, you might choose a song that reflects that. Or maybe they go through a difficult time, right? You choose a song that reflects that. So you're going to want to play around with the songs that you know what the lyrics are saying to match their character traits or the events that happen in the plot. My sample playlist is in the description. Please also remember that you want to include why you chose the songs that you chose. And if you're making a YouTube playlist, you can do that by putting it in the playlist description. Second thing, for the found poetry, it's very, very similar to what we've been doing the past couple of weeks with the spine poems and with the blackout poetry. So you're gonna wanna use the tutorials that I did to get started on those. They're on my channel, so you can reference those for that. The big idea though is you wanna focus on tone and diction again, so that you can choose words to create a poem that flows really well together. You guys have been doing awesome with that though, so the idea is pretty much the same, just in a different format. That's all the instruction I have for you this week, because a lot of it's very similar. If you need any help at all or you're confused, please send me an email and we can get that sorted out for you. Don't forget to submit your tic-tac-toe writings on Teams, and also include your found poem, a picture of that if you have done that, as well as the link for your YouTube playlist as well. I can't wait to see what you guys create. Until next week, get outside, read a book, and be nice to each other.